Good morning, Nigeria. Welcome to Daybreak Live Extra on Dominion Television. It's Friday, the 13th of February, and we are glad you're starting your morning with us. Samuluaimi Adelako, ready to walk you through the conversations shaping the nation today.
And I'm Manulu Akboidu. From economic projections to political development, we lined up the stories, analysis, and perspectives you need to stay informed and ahead this morning.
All right, and I am Samson Balogun. As always, we bring you clarity beyond the headlines, context, balance, and conversations that matter on the Star.
We begin with the Daybreakers examining a bold economic projection. Billionaire businessman Femi Otedala says expanded production at the Dangote refinery could push the naira below 1,000 to the dollar before the end of the year. Is this optimism, strategy, or economic possibility? We break it down this morning.
Up next is the weather reports giving you conditions across the country as you plan your day today. That will take you through Daybreak News covering the top national and international stories making headlines this morning.
Right, after that, Yemi.
Definitely. We turn to newspaper headlines and analyses where we unpack today's biggest front pages stories. Joining us for insight is Afino Ignatius, research and public affairs analyst, as we examine the narratives driving national discourse.
And of course, at exactly 8 o'clock is the big story. We'll be looking at the implications of the proposed U.S. visa ban and sanctions bill targeting Kwangwaso and Mieti Allah. What could this mean politically and economically for Nigeria? Joining us for this critical conversation is Omalaja Olaoye, a public affairs analyst, and of course a good governance advocate on the Star.
Definitely. And we wrap up the morning with Trend Watch, tracking the issues sparking conversations online and across communities.
It's a morning of economic outlook, political analysis, and national reflection.
Right after that, this is Daybreak Live on Dominion Television. Ibadan. Good morning.
Of course. Good morning.
Good morning to you, the extracting.
Or we should say the OMB team.
Perhaps that works.
Fridays are usually like that.
That works.
And I must say, Yemi must invite us to this very event she's going to.
No.
Otherwise, there might be crisis.
No.
Who will allow you leave this building?
No.
Okay, good morning, guys.
Good morning.
A lot is going on. And, we just heard what Femi Otedola said. He's a billionaire businessman, and he knows exactly where to put his money. And he's been doing that for years. And coming out to say, just recently Dangote released a particular information out there and said, look, we have upskilled, and then we are producing to maximum capacity at the Dangote refinery, 650,000 barrels per day. I mean, that's a lot. And Otedola, who happens to be his friend and a business partner, come out to say, look, if that happens, and if it continues consistently, it means that by the end of the year, we might be able to benchmark $1 to 1,000 naira. I mean, that's one thing that will be a giant stride and achievement for this administration, having been working tirelessly to make sure that dollar comes down. And there is no way you can do it unless Nigeria reduces this FX exchange with other countries.
Definitely. I think it's a good one. Of course, we celebrate, Dangote for, achieving this. And then his friend, he also mentioned that it's his brother as well. And then the fact that, according to the report that we read, this is the first refinery in the world to attain and sustain full 650,000 barrels per day capacity on its crude distillation unit, that's CDU, and Motor Spirit MS block. So it is a good one for us, and of course we appreciate that. Imagine if two more refineries like our own refineries can work, along this capacity. It's going to be massive and compulsive for the people. But then it's sad that they are not, working perfectly. And then one more thing is, some Nigerians, because I was trying to check online to see what people are saying concerning this matter. Some are saying, apart from, this, production, this increase in the BPD, other factors are involved to ensure that, naira to dollar can reduce drastically. And I think they're very correct. But then it's also a good one. We can start from here too. And then one more thing that people are saying is the fact that, recently there was a drop in price, about 50 naira, from 8 something, 840, 850, it dropped to about 740, 750. But at the end of the day, later, it went up again to about 800 and then came down recently again to about 700. 700 or 740. So Nigerians are saying, why is it that we are experiencing that? But at the end of the day, it's always going to be like that. The price is not supposed to be fixed. It will always go up sometimes and come down sometimes, because certain factors would determine the price of fuel. So that's the way Nigerians should see this matter now. It is possible that we achieve an increase in dollar, because currently dollar is around 1.450. You know, depends on where you're buying from. So at the end of the day, we can achieve it. And then if at all we can even support Dangote Refinery as it is now, I want to believe that it's getting some level of support from the government, and that's why it's been able to achieve some of the things that, you know, is achieving now. Even when it was building this refinery, you know, certain things were relaxed for its sake, because, you know, it was trying to build a refinery. So I just want the government to continue on this, and at the same time, let's not neglect those refineries that we have. We should begin to look for what to do. Some persons are calling for privatization of those refineries. Some are saying sell it off. Some are saying lease it to Dangote. Let him see what he can do with the refineries. These are options that we have on the table, and the government and those in charge of these must look for ways, you know, to better the lives of Nigerians by looking for ways to actually make sure that if at all we don't sell it, let's look for what to do with this refineries. At the end of the day, if all those refineries can come together to support Dangote Refinery, in no time it will work well, and of course the price will go down drastically. Right.
Well, I think we should. I want to take it from the angle of the economic outlook, right? Maybe to first check the question that was asked, or perhaps what was postulated from Femi Otedola, to say that there's a chance for Nigerian naira to trade at 1,000 or below before the end of 2026, if, you know, provided Dangote Refinery's dream come to pass. You know, so there's been that conversation around quarters, people claiming that maybe there's a political undertone to that statement, because just like you might want to agree that he's an economist, he's a businessman, and he's a tycoon, a high-profile business tycoon in the country and across West Africa, even Africa, you might want to question that based on the facts that you have, especially if you ask a question around what will make the Nigerian naira to come up, you know, to rise from the falling state it has been. It won't just be the Dangote Petroleum Refinery situation. It's not enough to do that, right? While it is also one of the things that can help that particular situation, one of the things that can help the Nigerian naira, it is also not okay to say that it is the only thing that is going to make the Nigerian naira, because there are other things that are involved, especially if you look at the economic outlook. So that's why a lot of persons are saying, could there be a political undertone in this, in that maybe there is a view, or there's a chance, or there's a plan to get Otedola something, maybe a senior special advisor or something in this administration? Some have said maybe it's political, that when political conversation sets in, even economists can lose their normal outlook, their economic outlook, and start prophesying. So because some have said this is just a prophecy, this is not actually what's going to be obtainable in the next maybe a few months. Maybe that they are being pessimistic. But if you have to look at, I don't claim to be an authority in economics and finance, but the few we've seen and the few we've read, we can tell that some of the things that's going to help the Nigerian naira is improve fiscal and monetary policy credibility, and that's very important for Nigeria to sustain or to even attain that height of maybe selling at 1,000 naira to $1. And exchange rate reforms and transparency as well is something to talk about. The FX policy, talk about all those exchange international monetary exchange rate and all of the reforms that can come from there. Also, increased foreign investment and capital is also one of the things that can help the Nigerian naira, and growth in non-oil export and diaspora remittances. But I think one of the ones that people would say is the higher oil prices and stronger export earning. So if there is massive production in Nigeria, talk about oil, that we don't need to first take to somewhere and then bring it back using the US dollar, because that's one of it makes dollar to become scarce, because it's in high demand, because everybody wants to buy, especially importers and independent marketers want to get the fuel back from where it was exported to, so they have to look for dollar. So when you look for dollar, it makes dollar to be in high demand, and then it drops the Nigerian naira. So that's more like the projection of things to say, if that is well sustained, that we now have production at a massive level in Nigeria, especially with Dangote, it can help in a lot of ways. But to now make a statement authoritatively as an economist to say, just if Dangote Refinery's dream come to pass, then the Nigerian situation of the Nigeria, fighting the US dollar would come to. I'm not sure that's exactly economical. I'm not sure that's finance intelligence. I beg to say, and I beg to be wrong as well, because I really do not claim to be an authority in this. But from the little we've seen, Dangote Refinery will do a lot, but it will only do so much. It cannot take all the, you can't say it, you now give it all the credits to say, if it comes this way, then the Nigerian naira will increase, the dollar will come out. But I mean, I'm not sure that's exactly the statement that is actually true, considering economic outlook.
Well, I think it's just alluding to the fact that there are several updates out there in the last few months talking about how President Bola Ahmed Tinubu has been dealing with the economic restructuring and new policies in the country. And some have spoken about the macro and the microeconomic strategies being put in place by the President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. And some have alluded to the fact that he has focused more on the macroeconomic strategies rather than the micro. And that is why you still see that most Nigerians on the streets are saying they still have not felt the effects of what the president is doing, because he's focusing on something bigger that will eventually trickle down to the common man on the street. And if you see the set of people that are talking about this current reform, they are people who are the major players in the industry, especially in production. They are seeing the effect already, and they feel like if it is sustained for a number of years, it will eventually trickle down to the microeconomic strategy, which concerns most Nigerians. But then some have also said that if he focuses on the macroeconomic strategy now, it will eventually end up in a quick fix, because Nigerians will enjoy, but to what extent, for how long? And that is what we've been doing for a long time, going through rough patches, let's find a quick fix, and then just like you have a container that is leaking. Okay, you find a quick fix, let's just work on it right now, and then in the next 2-3 days it's leaking again. So how about finding a lasting solution to that particular container to stop it from leaking? I think that is the approach the president is taking. Now, it is not just about, I understand the fact that you don't want to believe Otedola as an authority on what the economy should look like or what it's looking like in the country, because he's also a businessman, and if it favors him, yes, he's definitely going to talk about how well it's looking like, especially when we talk about macroeconomic strategy. But what I am seeing is that as it affects them, it is eventually going to affect average Nigerians too. Don't forget that when the issue of tax came on board, it's not just the poor that talked about tax. It's even the rich were saying, look, it's going to affect businesses. And they were looking for tax rebates and strategies to make sure that they don't pay too much. And that's exactly what even the common man are looking for. Now, aside from oil, boosting the non-oil sector will also help Nigeria. And one of the things that has killed the Nigerian economy for a long time is the fact that we rely heavily on importation. A country that depends on importation is destined to die. And that was where Nigeria was heading to. And if you remember when President Muhammadu Buhari came on board in 2015, he talked about buy Naira, grow Naira. Okay, he suspended the importation of some goods and then closed the border for some time. Why not grow rice in Nigeria? Let's buy the Nigerian rice instead of importation. Yes, some people complained, even Nigerians complained, but the people who complained most are the people who import rice into the country. They are looking at, oh, this is a source of livelihood that has been stopped. That will also happen when someone comes tomorrow and says there is no importation of generator into the country again. You would understand that there are people who are there that are benefiting and feeding fat on the fact that Nigerians are not having constant electricity. Okay, so he's looking at ways to make sure that economy is stabilized, because stability is the most important thing. When you stabilize the naira, a naira to a dollar is also amount of money, and you are sure that unless it reduces, it's not increasing. So it should be pegged at a particular price. And that is why I don't really like the idea of floating the naira and putting it up to market forces. Oh, whatever happens, then it should be floating. Today it is this, tomorrow it is that. I think there should be a way, just like Otedola said, for a fact that even as bad as toothpick, Nigerians import. So what do we tend to do to these people to focus more on industrialization rather than importation? These are things you should be looking at. A producing economy is a growing economy. An importing economy is a dying economy. And I'm not totally taking what Otedola said, but I'm just I'm taking a few from it and saying, look, it is going to help Nigerians in the long run.
Okay, so not to say this in defense of Otedola, Yes, there might be a political undertone to all of this. I mean, this is Nigeria, but however, I think they have a relationship before all of this.
Absolutely.
Several times you see Otedola, comment on things that have to do with Dangote online, their friends. There was even a time that the daughter of Otedola called, Dangote. I think he called maybe his Big Daddy or something like that online. So I think they have a kind of relationship. But away from that now, I recall that in 2023, when the price of fuel went up, it affected the price of dollar immensely. I can still remember, because I wanted to buy something at that time, but then because of that, I had to add more money to it. So it's a problem. So I don't know how to explain this now, but let me use this analogy now. So the same way the amount of money you have in your bank account, your resources that you generate can affect several aspects of your life. Is the way the price of fuel can affect all the other factors that are connected to this. Yes, other factors are connected to this, whether Dangote, is going higher with the number of, barrels it produces in one day or not. But then it can affect these other factors that can help us beat down the price of dollar. So if we can get it right, it can affect these other things. And that's what we are trying to do. And then he also mentioned something. He said beyond the current capacity, Dangote was embarking on additional $12 billion expansion to boost refining capacity to 1.4 million barrels per day, alongside plans to produce 2.4 million tons of polypropylene and 400,000 metric tons of linear alkyl benzene, a key ingredient in detergent. It is a good one, actually. So if we can get this one right, it can also affect all the other things that are connected to this. But that's not to say that only Dangote refinery, the price can come down, then we can also achieve, a bit, or we can also achieve, a reduction in the price of dollar. So these things are connected to each other. I don't know if you get me. They're connected to each other, and then if we can get this right, we can also get those other factors right. But we should not be dependent on Dangote refinery. Can we begin to look for other ways to even help the situation? And I don't understand what the government is doing at this point in time, because there are still discussions around our own refinery. We don't even know what to do with those refineries. If we can work on those ones too, we can count for something. And that's what we are saying. I mentioned a few days ago that when you find a man with result, find humility, by all means possible, and speak to him. How are you doing this thing? How are you getting it right? Speak to his engineers, talk to him. Article was even saying, let's just privatize these things and let's move on. Away from that, let's also look at all other options, and then let's find a way to make sure that these refineries, our own refinery, will also work. Dangote does not have two heads. Just one. Yes, he's a billionaire. But the government can even pull more resources than it can, if you look at it critically. So some people will say Nigeria is broke, but I don't believe that. I don't believe that. Exactly.
It's about the Nigerian attitude. There's a particular saying that most people don't want to listen to, they don't want to hear, that people say out there, that may Nigeria not happen to you. Nigeria is happening to Nigeria's facilities out there, especially when it comes to the refineries and Ajakuta still rolling and so many other things. I initially don't want to believe it's a negative saying until recently, when I discovered that Nigerians are the problems of Nigerians and Nigeria itself. The moment you are employed, you become a government employee and you believe that, nothing has to work. As long as you wake up, take your bath in the morning, go to work, and you come back. You don't really have to do anything. It is only in Nigeria that Nigerians who take up an employment with the government, travel abroad, still be taking, money from the federal government, and still maybe be giving a stipend to some people just to keep them, in the record books that they are still members of staff. There are so many of them out there. There was a time the Abiola Ajimobi administration in Oyo State had to do some auditioning, and they discovered some people were already dead, and their monies were still going to their bank accounts. It costs you nothing to be honest and say, look, this person has passed away, and then we just want to let you know that he's no longer here, especially for pensioners. These are ways that Nigeria has been wasting money. Can we be honest enough to say, look, let's do the right thing at the right time? But the reason I said Nigerians are happening to Nigeria, you want to make money at all costs. There's only Nigeria that one will go to bed in the night and believes when he wakes up in the morning, he will be 100 million naira richer. What exactly are you doing? But the truth is, that is the thinking of an average Nigerian. You see a car passing by, a Mercedes-Benz GLE, let me just see one money like this. This is what I will buy tomorrow morning. As in how?
Sorry.
What exactly are you doing to deserve that?
Permit me to speak briefly on what you've just said now. Just the same way it is at the quarters of the average Nigerian, it's also the same with government. And I think at an economic forum recently, Okonjo-Iweala was addressing African nations, and she was telling them that you need to invest in yourself. You need to grow the production capacity in every African state. And you can imagine, I think I was doing a bit of research. I discovered that DR Congo, which is the second largest African country in the continent after Algeria in terms of land mass, has the capacity to generate electricity for the rest of Africa, because of the Congo Basin River, that big, massive, because of course it has like a natural turbine system that would make it to generate power for every country in Africa. But where are we? That's another conversation. Meanwhile, the same country has some resources like bitumen and oil and all of some of these things. And you know, you can still tell, if you look at DR Congo now, you can't even compare them with any big nations in the maybe outside of Africa, right? And it's still the same story, still the same narrative, because if we do not increase our production capacity, and not just about oil, we've talked about this, that there should be diversification of the economy. Can Nigeria be rich agriculturally? Yes. Does it have the potential to export agricultural items to every part of the world? Absolutely yes. Are we doing enough? No. What are we focusing on? So the moment Dangote came into refinery, everybody's talking about refinery again, into oil, I mean crude oil and all of that, which is good. But what can we do to other sectors as well? Agricultural sector. You know, I think we are doing a bit well in media and entertainment. That's lovely. But what about other economic angles so that we can also look at the projection and start working? And I think that's very important for even our government and every other person to now invest in the production capacity of this country to get us to where we need to be.
Well, I think, you know, when you spoke about agriculture, it made me remember the Dawn Commission, the Odua Group, and what they did with, you know, cocoa money when the late sage Obafemi Awolowo was here. I think it's a template for everyone to look at. Let's go back there and see what exactly they did right at that time. Otherwise, we'll be circling. All right, it's a convenient place to take weather report on this show this morning. We'll help you plan your day and see how you can navigate around the city of Ibadan and so many other cities across Nigeria today. And of course, we'll be starting with the ancient metropolitan city of hospitality, Ibadan. In Ibadan, as we speak, weather currently feels like 24 degrees Celsius, and it is partly cloudy right here in Ibadan. It will rise to 28 degrees Celsius later in the morning, while being mostly cloudy at 5%. In the afternoon, it will also be at 33 degrees Celsius, partly cloudy at 21%, while it will drop to 27 degrees Celsius in the evening, mostly cloudy at 17%, and 25 degrees Celsius overnight, mostly cloudy at 7% right here in Ibadan today.
Okay, let's cross over to Abeokuta, North Ogun. Weather feels like 24 degrees Celsius, and later in the morning is expected to rise to 29 degrees Celsius, cloudy around 2%. In the afternoon, there's a sharp rise to 33 degrees Celsius, mostly cloudy around 3%. And in the evening, it drops to 28 degrees Celsius, partly cloudy around 10%. And overnight, it drops further to 25 degrees Celsius, mostly cloudy around 12%. And that's what we have for Ogun this morning.
And from Ogun now to Ekiti Southwest today, Ekiti State, the weather across board feels like 23 degrees Celsius, expected to be cloudy. And later in the morning, it rises to 27 degrees Celsius by about 4 degrees Celsius, expected to be mostly cloudy. It rises much further in the afternoon to 33 degrees Celsius by 6 degrees Celsius to become partly cloudy. And then it drops to 25 degrees Celsius in the evening to be mostly cloudy as well, and then it drops much further by 1 degree Celsius overnight to 24 degrees Celsius, also expected to be cloudy in Ekiti Southwest today.
Right, moving on to the Center of Excellence this morning, and that is Lagos. Weather in Lagos currently feels partly cloudy at 27 degrees Celsius as we speak. And later in the morning, it will rise to 29 degrees Celsius, while being mostly cloudy at 7%. It will remain mostly cloudy for most of the day, including afternoon, evening, and overnight at 31 degrees Celsius, 28 degrees Celsius, and 27 degrees Celsius, respectively, with just the humidity intensity varying from 5 degrees Celsius, 8 degrees Celsius, and 10 degrees Celsius from afternoon, evening, and overnight in Lagos today.
Okay, let's cross over to Lorry International Airport, Kwara. Weather feels like 24 degrees Celsius, and then later is expected to rise to 29 degrees Celsius, mostly cloudy around 1%. In the afternoon, there's a sharp rise to 36 degrees Celsius, partly cloudy around 0%. And in the evening, it drops to 28 degrees Celsius, mostly cloudy around 1%. Overnight, it drops further to 25 degrees Celsius, mostly cloudy around 5%. That's what we have for Lorry this morning.
And from Ilorin now to Osogbo today, because the weather feels cloudy at 23 degrees Celsius across board, and later in the morning it rises by 5 degrees Celsius to 28 degrees Celsius, expected to be mostly cloudy. In the afternoon it rises much further to 34 degrees Celsius, moving by 6 degrees Celsius up, and then it becomes partly cloudy. In the evening it drops to 26, whooping and significantly 26 degrees Celsius, mostly cloudy in the evening. And overnight it drops by 1 degree Celsius to 25 degrees Celsius, also expected to be mostly cloudy in Osogbo today.
Right, so moving on to the south this morning, and that is Port Harcourt, River State. Weather in Port Harcourt currently feels like 22 degrees Celsius. It is partly cloudy as we speak in Port Harcourt. And later in the morning it will rise to 27 degrees Celsius by 5 degrees Celsius, while it is going to be partly cloudy at 3%. It will rise by 3 degrees Celsius to 30 degrees Celsius, mostly cloudy in the afternoon at 14%, while in the evening it will drop to 23 degrees Celsius, partly cloudy at 10%. It will drop further by 1 degree Celsius to 22 degrees Celsius, while being mostly cloudy overnight at 10% right there in Port Harcourt, River State today.
Okay, let's cross over to where Municipal Ibo. Weather feels like 23 degrees Celsius, and later in the morning is expected to rise to 30 degrees Celsius, mostly cloudy around 1%. In the afternoon, there's a rise to 34 degrees Celsius, scattered thunderstorms around 37%, so that's massive. In the evening, it drops to 26 degrees Celsius, mostly cloudy around 17%, and overnight, it drops further to 24 degrees Celsius. That's what we have for Wiri.
And also much of a difference in the largest state in the country, and that's Niger State today. At Suleja, the weather feels partly cloudy across board at 23 degrees Celsius. And later in the morning, rises by 7 degrees Celsius to 30 degrees Celsius. And in the afternoon as well, it rises much further by 6 degrees Celsius, openly to 36 degrees Celsius, expected to be partly cloudy. And then it drops in the evening to 29 degrees Celsius, expected to be partly cloudy. It drops much further by 4 degrees Celsius overnight to 25 degrees Celsius, also expected to be mostly cloudy in Suleja, Niger State today.
All right, moving on to the north this morning, I will take this one from Kaduna in Kaduna State. Weather in Kaduna currently feels like 19 degrees Celsius, while being fair as we speak. And later in the morning it will rise sharply to 29 degrees Celsius, while being partly cloudy at 0%. It will be mostly cloudy in the afternoon, 35 degrees Celsius at 0%, while it will drop by 10 degrees Celsius to 25 degrees Celsius in the evening, partly cloudy at 0%. And overnight, it will drop further to 19 degrees Celsius, partly cloudy at 0% in Kaduna State today.
Okay, let's take it to Kano Municipal. Weather feels like 18 degrees Celsius. Later is expected to be around 27 degrees Celsius. Sunny around 0%. In the afternoon, 34 degrees Celsius. Mostly sunny around 0% as well. In the evening, 25 degrees Celsius. Mostly clear around 0%. And overnight, 20 degrees Celsius, partly cloudy around 0%. And that's what we have for Kano Municipal this morning.
That wraps up weather report on the dial this morning. We say thank you for linking up with us. Do also join us on all social media platforms, Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok at Dominion Broadcast, and on X, formerly Twitter at Dominion Cast. You can watch us live on our website at www.dominion.org.ng, dominion.org.ng. You can also do all to subscribe and like our pages on YouTube and Facebook at Dominion Broadcast. Do well to watch us live and drop your comments on those dials. All right, let's go on a quick break. When we return, it is time to take details. We'll be back.
Hello and welcome to Daybreak News on Dominion Television. My name is Anoluwapo Idowu. Vice President Kashim Shettima has departed Abuja for Addis Ababa, Ethiopia, to represent President Bola Tinubu at the 2026 African Union Summit. The summit will focus on water security, sanitation, and continental development goals. According to a statement by the presidency, the vice president will attend the 39th ordinary session of the AU Assembly of Heads of State and Government and the 30th AU General Assembly on February 14th and 15th. Shettima is also expected to hold bilateral meetings aimed at strengthening Nigeria's diplomatic and economic ties. He is accompanied by senior government officials and is expected to return after his engagement. The House of Representatives Committee on Science and Engineering has stepped down consideration of the 2026 budget proposal of the National Center for Technology Management. The committee also resolved to remove the agency's allocation from the 2026 appropriation bill and recommended the immediate removal of its Director General, Dr. Olusola Odusoya. Lawmakers cited the DG's failure to appear before the committee and its inability to submit required budget document for scrutiny. The decision was taken during a budget defense session in Abuja, chaired by the committee's chairman, Inuwa Garba. And in Oyo State Governor, Engineer Seyi Makinde, has assured that his administration will provide strong political leadership, budgetary support, and executive backing for laws aimed at preventing gender-based violence in the state. Governor Makinde gave the assurance while hosting representatives of the Nigerian Governance Spouses Forum led by his wife, Mrs. Tamuno Minini Makinde, during an advocacy program held at the State Secretariat in Ibadan. The governor said his administration would work closely with the Oyo State House of Assembly to ensure adequate budgetary allocation for gender-based violence prevention and response mechanisms. Earlier, the wife of the Oyo State Governor, Mrs. Tamuno Minini Makinde, described gender-based violence as not only a social problem, but also a development challenge, a governance issue, and a silent economic drain. The meeting formed part of an advocacy initiative by the Nigerian Governance Spouses Forum in partnership with the Ford Foundation aimed at strengthening legislative ownership of gender-based violence prevention in Oyo State. Students of the Mass Communication Department of Precious Cornerstone University, Ibadan, have paid a courtesy visit to Dominion Broadcast Group as part of an educational excursion aimed at exposing them to practical media operations. Taiwo Onlaruwaju completes the report.
300-level students of the Mass Communication Department of Precious Cornerstone University, Ibadan, have paid a courtesy visit to Dominion Broadcasting Group as part of an educational excursion aimed at exposing them to practical media operations. During the visit, the students were taken around major departments of the media organization where they were introduced to different aspects of broadcasting, including radio and television production. They also had the opportunity to observe live studio activities and learn about newsroom and technical operations. Speaking after the tour, some of the students expressed delight at the experience, describing the visit as impactful, noting that it has given them a clear understanding of practical side of broadcasting.
This has been one of the best one I've seen so far. The building, beautiful. The studios, the production room, the newsroom, everywhere was so, the ambience. I really enjoyed staying here.
I've done IT in some places before, and I can tell this is the best so far. And I've learned a lot, down from the production studio, the radio, the TV, the MCR, the OB's van. I mean, I've never seen an OB van before. I've never seen the inside, what they do and everything. It's really amazing.
About the MCR, that's the master control room, the PCR, the production control room, the studio, the way the teleprompter operates, the radio station too, like the radio studio, and we met with the GM.
A senior lecturer in the Mass Communication Department, Dr. Ayila, appreciated the management of Dominion Broadcasting Group for hosting the students, noting that the excursion would broaden their knowledge.
This will be something that it will be with them for life, because many of them have not been to TV studio, many of them have not been to radio studio, many have been doing their sideways IT at newspaper houses, but now that they have come here, they have seen it. There's another that says seeing is believing, and they have seen it and the importance of each of the equipment, and I think they will make use of it in the nearest future.
As part of efforts to strengthen practical learning, educational excursions such as this continue to play a vital role in preparing students for the realities of the media profession. Taiwo Onlaruwaju, reporting for Dominion News.
And now in business, the Nigerian Deposit Insurance Corporation has said that about 99% of depositors in Nigerian banks are fully covered under its enhanced deposit insurance scheme. The managing director, Thompson Sunday, gave the assurance during the NDIC Special Day at the 47th Kaduna International Trade Fair. Speaking through a representative, Sunday said the scheme ensures the sales of public funds and with ongoing financial sector reforms will benefit to Nigerians. He also highlighted the NDIC's role in protecting depositors, supervising banks, and managing the orderly resolution of failed institutions. And now in sports, Bashir Saleh has been appointed as the new technical advisor of the Nigerian Premier Football League side, Wiki Tourist. He takes over on an interim basis following the resignation of head coach Abdullahi.
Live from the heart of the action. Welcome to the nerve center of Next Level Broadcasting.
This is the OB van, where the studio meets the street.
Equipped with cutting-edge cameras, crystal clear audio, real-time switching, and broadcast control, we don't just capture moments, we deliver the experience live.
Anywhere, anytime, from stadiums to red carpets, breaking news to buzzing festivals, weddings, birthdays, and all sorts of ceremonies. We bring the world to your screen in real time.
It's not just a van, it's a complete mobile.
You're welcome back. And now to sports. Bashir Saleh has been appointed as the new technical advisor of Nigeria Premier Football League side, Wiki Tourist. He takes over on an interim basis following the resignation of head coach Abdullahi Maikaba. Saleh is expected to resume duties immediately and will lead the team in their March 26 fixture against Rangers in Enugu this weekend. The new advisor previously served as chief coach at Wiki Tourist and has also worked with Gombe United. You can visit our website on www.dominion.org.ng to watch us live and interact with us. You can also follow us across our social media platforms on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, and LinkedIn at Dominion Broadcast, and next at Dominion Cast. And as Daybreak News, I am Anu Oluwapo Ido. Thank you for watching.
Need a professional space to bring your vision to life? Dominion Television Studios offers state-of-the-art facilities perfect for your next broadcast, commercial, corporate video, or live event. With flexible rental options, cutting-edge equipment, and a supportive team, we provide the perfect environment for high-quality productions. Unleash your creativity. For bookings, email us at marketing@dominion.org.ng. Call us on 0705 506 1061 or 0916 101 1061. Check us out on Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn, and TikTok at Dominion Broadcast and on X at Dominion Cast. Book your space today. Dominion Television, your channel of choice.
Welcome back. Thank you for staying with us this morning. This is newspaper headlines and analysis. I'm Oluwaimi Adelakwa, and I'm not alone in the studio this morning. I have it Ignatius, Boss Lume, Ufino. Welcome on board.
Good morning, Yimi.
Good morning. Okay. Let's start with Nigerian Tribune. I have the banner headline that says, Mina visit Atiku Fort Fayoshe dismisses his claim as beer parlor tales of infamy. I mean, in the last few days now, I'm very sure that you're aware of the meeting that happened between Atiku, IBB, and of course Makinde. So Fayoshe tweeted, hours after the meeting to say that, he knows what the meeting was about. And then he said Atiku is to become the presidential candidate while Makinde is to become the vice presidential candidate. And then Atiku is saying, this is just beer parlor talk. You have no idea what we discuss. And as a matter of fact, why do you think you know every single thing? You are not even there. What do you make of this? I mean, do you think Fayoshe has a right to say, okay, this is what you people discuss? Because Atiku is saying, this is beer parlor talk. You have nothing to say.
Mr. Peter Ayodele Fayoshe happened to be the former governor of Ekiti State. So he's also one of the political gladiators in Nigeria. So in politics, when there are what we call closed-door meetings, the tendency is there for one or two persons that are absent to insinuate. So it's just an insinuation.
But the way Fayoshe is saying it is not insinuating. It's like, I know what you people discuss.
You know what he's trying to do? As it's insinuation now, based on psychology, he wants them to say what they actually discussed.
Okay.
As a psychologist. But there is one thing you have to understand. The game of power is full of intrigues, gimmicks, permutation, alignment, realignment, and the conspiracy theory. What do you expect people to say? Atiku presently is in ADC. Engineer Seyi Makinde is in PDP. And mind you, in 2023, Engineer Seyi Makinde happened to be a member of the G5 who worked against Atiku. But there is one thing you must know in politics. There is no permanent friend, there is no permanent enemy. What you are more interested is what? Permanent interest. That is why you see Atiku going to lobby. Atiku may be desperate for power. There is no doubt about it. Every average politician is desperate for power.
Okay, Ofino, something similar happened recently when Makinde went to meet with the president. Fayose also tweeted again to say that Makinde was disgraced. You know, he didn't even get the favor of the president. This is not the first time that Fayose will be saying, I know what happened at the meeting.
You know what Fayose is trying to do is now? He's trying to attack the personality of certain individual. Okay. I wouldn't know why he's doing so. I have every right to choose who and who is going to be my friend. So the game of power, no permanent friend, no permanent enemy. It's only permanent interest. You have an ambition. But there is one thing Martin Luther King said. We need leaders, not in love with money, but in love with justice. Not in love with publicity, but in love with humanity. I repeat again, Martin Luther King Jr. asserted, we need leaders, not in love with money, but in love with justice. Not in love with publicity, but in love with humanity. Most of our leaders in Nigeria today, they are always in love with money, in love with publicity. They are not in love with justice. They are not in love with fundamental human rights. They are not in love with the rule of law. They are not in love with human welfare. They are not in love with human dignity and what we call humanity.
Okay.
That has been the problem.
Okay, let me link this to another headline that I have, in Vanguard newspaper this morning. It says, ADC should consider Southerner for 2027 presidency. That's coming from Amechi, a member of the ADC. And then recently, ADC has been very silent about their zoning system. So he's saying now that if at all they want to zone it, it should be zoned to the south. And Atiku has said that he's contesting as the presidential candidate.
Let me be frank and sincere. If ADC floats a southern presidential candidate, that southern presidential candidate cannot defeat Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu.
What about a northern candidate?
But the tendency is there. If a northern candidate is being floated by ADC, let me give an example. Let's assume they give Atiku the opportunity. Then Obi accepted to, Obi is now being adopted as the running mate for Atiku. Game over.
Really?
I'm telling you, I'm on this platform saying it.
But,
authoritatively. Game over.
Ofino, the Obedient have said it expressly that they will not be supporting that candidate. They will not be supporting Peter Obi if he decides to become VP to anyone.
The issue is not about Obedient movement now. The issue is about how do we savage Nigeria.
But looking at the zoning
system, people need a change.
Okay, looking at the zoning system, a southern person is in power now. And then if you ask many politicians, they will tell you, allow the southern person to do one more term. That's what most of them are saying.
Let me give you an issue. Let me give you an instance. Do you know that the current president from the south now is running under the slot of the Igbo slot?
How do you mean?
I will explain. In 1999 to 2007, the Southwest ruled Nigeria for 8 years in person of His Excellency Chief Matthew Olusegun Obasanjo's CFR. Now, in 2015 to 2023, the Southwest run as vice president under Professor Yemi Osinbajo. Now, in 2023 now, who is running? Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu to date. But mind you, in 2009 till 2015, it was from the South. President Goodluck Ebele Jonathan. None from the Southeast. So, Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu, to me, is my personal opinion, is running the Igbo slot.
Really?
So if the Igbo, the Ohanese Igbo, knows the game of power very well, if at the end of the day, Obi did not clinch the ADC ticket, and Atiku now clinch the ADC ticket, he should be adopted as the running mate. Let me give you an instance. I'm going to explain it to you now. Now, if Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu is contesting now, he's going to contest for a second term. But there is a problem on ground now. If Atiku is allowed to contest and he wins that election, is he going to rule Nigeria for 4 years? Will he not say, no, I'm going to rule for 8 years? Just for the issue that happened in Yaradua. Yaradua only ruled for 2 years.
Ofino,
there was a shortfall. Now, if you now say Obi should rule, will Obi accept to rule Nigeria for 4 years? With your Hanesi
he has said there was a time he said it. He said he's going to rule for 1 term.
Politicians cannot be trusted.
Okay.
The average Nigerian politician, with your Hanesi Igbo, not tell their son that we must rule Nigeria for 8 years. Now, if Atiku is elected as president, we did not tell him to rule Nigeria for 8 years, just to compensate the vacuum that was created after the demise of Umaru Musa Yar'Adua, who only ruled for 2 years.
Ofino, do you think we should cancel the zoning system if it's causing more trouble, than success?
It is very difficult for you to cancel the zoning system. The zoning system is not constitutional. It's just a convention.
Federal character.
To ensure that there is a balance of power, a balance of political power between the North and the Southern Protectorate, so that peace can reign. Politics is a game of numbers. When you are talking about the region that has more electoral constituencies, it's the North. Give it to the North. The Northwest alone, their vote gave Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu the victory at the polls. You don't joke with the North. You don't joke. The North feel that the time has come for them to compensate as Alhaji Atiku Abubakar, because he was the one that actually stepped down for Chief MKO Abiola.
Okay.
The history is there.
Okay.
I'm not campaigning for Alhaji Atiku Abubakar. Neither am I demarcating Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu. But Nigeria is at a crossroad. We are at a crossroad. If you say Atiku should be elected as president, the tendency is there for him to rule Nigeria for 8 years. If you say Obi should be elected as president, the tendency is there for him to rule for 8 years. It is only Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu for now that we only rule for another single term of 4 years, making what, 8 years.
Okay.
So now we did not agree that Obi should rule Nigeria for 8 years. How long will they wait? Now the South also agree that Atiku should rule Nigeria for 8 years. So we are in a state of dilemma.
And good luck to the ADC, good luck to the APC.
If they say Jonathan is also coming back, according to them.
That's
so people
rumor.
want
It has not
Jonathan
been
to come back. If Jonathan is being nominated and he wins that election, Jonathan will only rule Nigeria for 4 years.
Okay, because he has ruled.
So 4 years for instance, making what? 10 years.
Okay, but away from that, it's still connected in a way. Let's go back to Nigerian Tribune. There's this particular headline that caught my attention. It says, Africa can sustain democracies without young leaders. And that's coming from Jonathan. It says, Muritala's assassination forced Nigeria to rejig security architecture. That's coming from Obasanjo. He's saying that whosoever is going to lead us as the next president should not be above 50. Can even be below 50. Can we achieve that? Because the current president now is above 70. Even himself is above 70. Obi is above 50 rather. Is above 50. Jonathan is above 50. And even Atiku is above 50. Can we achieve that? Having a president that is around 50 years.
President Goodluck Ebele Jonathan has been in the corridor of power. He ruled Nigeria for 6 years. He has right to his own opinion, but I disagree with him.
Really?
Anyone who is a Nigerian that is competent should rule us.
Regardless of the age.
Regardless of the age. We need competence. Lee Kuan Yew transformed Singapore from a third world country to a first world country based on 3 criteria. 1, meritocracy. 2, pragmatism. And 3, honesty. The other time I quoted what Martin Luther King Jr. said. He said we need leaders not in love with money, but in love with justice. Leaders not in love with publicity, but in love with what? With humanity. It's not about the age. It's about the mindset.
Okay. Ofino,
those who are willing to lead Nigeria, that will transform Nigeria from a developing country to a developed country, from a developing country to an advanced country, from a corrupt country to a zero corrupt country. That is the type of leaders that we want, irrespective of the age, irrespective of the tribe, irrespective of the religious affiliation.
What about the fitness? What about the health now? Because, I mean, if we keep getting over presidents, some persons are saying, we might not see so much development. What about the health?
Anyone can fall sick. The youth also fall sick.
Okay.
We have some men, 70, stronger than youths that are 40 years old. It depends on the way you take care of your health, your personal health.
Okay.
So when we are talking about longevity, it's something beyond human control. We have to be frank and sincere. I don't like people trying to demarket people that want to develop Nigeria based on age. We have seen some governor boasting that I'm going to transfer power to someone that is less than 50, that anyone above 50, I'm not going to support it. That shows that governor is trying to play God.
But Ovino, how do we encourage the younger ones? If we keep, voting for the older ones, how do we encourage those that are coming up?
They must be involved in politics. The youth must be involved in politics. Most of us are expending our energy on the social media platform. You have to register. Go and register as a member of any political party of your choice. That is the way to go about it. You must be involved. The party structure is there. We have the World ESCO. We have the state ESCO. We have the local government ESCO. We have the regional ESCO. We have what called the national ESCOs, which made up of the National Executive Council and the National Working Committee of each political parties. The youth must be involved. Do you know what they are using the youth for? They use the youth as foot soldiers. Most of them are being used.
Some are not
as thugs.
Some are not interested at all. You see them; they'll be playing ball on the field on the day of election.
Does it not sound ridiculous and appalling that you are not involved in the game of power? People that will decide your political destiny, people that will decide your economic destiny, you must be involved. Politicians decide everything that we earn. Let me give you an instance. Now, when during the days of Muhammadu Buhari, he shut the borders because he's the president. Do I have any authority to open the border? Can I reopen the border? Can I shut the border? No. When you are talking about free education, it is the president or the governor that has that authority. Now, most of the youth today, most of them cannot pay for their tuition fee. They are complaining.
About the government released something recently, a loan scheme for some students who actually...
NEFOD.
Okay.
NEFOD.
Yeah.
Yes.
I'm sure you're aware of that.
Yes.
Has that been
the
helping
Nigerian
in any way?
Educational Loan Fund.
Has that been helping in any way?
No, it has helped partially. But the only problem with that NEFOD is this. How many Nigerian students were able to get access to that loan? One. Then two, NEFOD triggered increase in tuition fee. We have some students today, they were unable to pay their tuition fee. They have dropped out of school.
That's a sad one. Away from this story, because of time, I want you to speak on this matter. Let's cross over to the Nation newspaper. I have the headline that says, arrest drama on El-Rufai's arrival at Abuja airport. Ex-governor's passport seized. And I read something online yesterday on Moyele Shore. I'm sure you know him quite well. He said that the passport should be released immediately, that the government should stop witch-hunting people that are not members of the APC, the ruling party. What do you make of this? Because even he himself, he envisioned this before he came down to Nigeria, that I might be arrested.
There is one thing you must know in this country, that our leaders don't care about our international reputation. No one is above the law. But there is one thing you must understand in the game of power. There is usually what we call sting operation or blackmail. You want to give the dog a bad name for the purpose of doing what? Killing it. But that is injustice. If El-Rufai has a case to answer in respect to terrorism in Nigeria, he should be tried according to the law.
You don't see anything political about this?
It's more political.
Okay.
Because they know that El-Rufai is a driving force in Northwest. Even in the North today, they are saying that Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu deceived the North. That he deceived the North. There is an issue on ground.
But we are seeing
the North are not happy that part of the Sokoto Caliphate was being bombed. Majority of the Nigerian citizens in the North, they are Muslim. There was one time they even said that our president is not a true Muslim. You know, that is the way you observe the Salat during prayers. That he got it wrong.
But apart from that, we are seeing appointment, in the northern part, even North Central. Look at the chairman of the party now.
Most of the
Is that not
appointments,
enough to placate the North?
no, there is one thing you must know. Nothing can be enough to appease the North.
Okay.
When it comes to issue of game of power, the North believe that they are born to rule. It has been in their mindset. Look at your currency. There is an Arabic inscription on it. The Nigerian Army logo too. There is an Arabic inscription on it. Are you not surprised? That is your country for you.
That is Nigeria. And at the end of the day, we should not allow this to divide us the more. You know, that's one thing that I always, speak about in this country. Regardless, whatsoever it is that is happening, let's try not to divide ourselves. Because, I mean, that's the concept that the colonizers brought at the time, divide and rule, which is the bane of the country as we speak. But it's a fine place to leave it this morning. A big thanks to you, Ignatius Ofino, for joining this particular segment.
Thank you, Yimi.
All right. A big thanks to the audience as well. We take a short break, and when we come back, we move on to Big Story. My name is Oluwayemi Adelakun. Please stay with us.
Good morning once again and welcome to the Big Story on Daybreak Live. Today we turn our attention to a developing international issue that is already stirring conversations across Nigeria's political and economic landscape. Report of a proposed United States bill that could impose visa restrictions and targeted sanctions against key Nigerian political actors, including former Kano State Governor Rabiu Musa Kwankwaso. as well as alleged scrutiny involving Miyetti Allah Cattle Breeders Association of Nigeria. This has raised critical questions. What does this mean for Nigeria's sovereignty? Could there be economic consequences? And how might this shape the country's political climate ahead of future elections? And joining us this morning to unpack the political and economic implications is Honorable Omolaja Olaoye. He's an APC chieftain and a public affairs analyst. Sanctions and visa bans are powerful diplomatic tools often deployed by the United States government to signal concerns over governance, scrutiny, security, and human rights issues. In the past, similar measures have had ripple effect from reputational damage to diplomatic strain, and in some cases, economic uncertainty. For a country like Nigeria, which maintains strong bilateral ties with the United States in trade, security, cooperation, and development partnerships, such actions cannot be ignored. This conversation goes beyond personalities. It touches on international diplomacy, domestic politics, investor confidence, and Nigeria's global image. This and more we'll be discussing on The Big Story this morning with Honorable Omolaja Olaoye. Good to have you once again on the show.
Good morning to you, Samson, for having me here today. And the viewer at home or listening and watching us, I say good morning to you all.
All right, you read the news that there will be sanctions for some people, especially those who are fingered to be related to religious intolerance, terrorism financing, and so many other things. That includes Rabi Musa Kwakonso and definitely Miyetti Allah. What does this say about the country Nigeria as we speak?
It doesn't say much about country Nigeria. It tells us that the problem you're having is more individualistic in nature, and that some people are those who are funding it, and there are some people who are giving them kudos and encouragement to be doing a lot of things. So in order to be able to assist us with our security challenges, I think all these are necessary in order for Nigeria to come as to have that unity impact, and we can be able to forge forward in whatever we do in Nigeria.
So do you see this sanction by the United States as a legitimate diplomatic concern or an interference in Nigeria's democracy and how we run things here?
A visa ban or any other fees imposed on the individual in a nation it's not been done in isolation. It's been done because with a lot of security report and the action of individual, it's going to show.
Are you saying Nigerian government is complicit in the U.S. decision to place a visa ban on some people?
When people say this, it's really baffling because we always turn everything to politics.
Does the Nigerian government know about this?
It is not about Nigerian government. Even when Nigerian government knows about it, they rather not talk because of political nature. They will say, look at what happened with Terrified. They will say about victimization. But when an individual did things wrong, he must be able to face the consequence. And any consequence that comes that comes when it's come with it, they must be able to accept it and make changes. That is what we needed. By the time we are attaching political reason to anything an individual does wrong, it is really unfair for the Nigerian government. They knew what like Rabi Musa Kwakonso. I remember when there was Fulani and Yoruba fight in Lagos some years back. It was him that came to represent them. And there is nothing wrong in you representing a group. But with the security challenge in the North, we knew that many individuals within the North are the ones that are sponsoring it. See, when there was a lot of fighting between probably Taraba or in the North Central, we have seen a lot of major generals that are involved in stockpiling of arms to be fighting each other. These are the things we have to point out. See what happened in Benue State when there was fighting between different ethnic groups. You can see some people went as far as United States of America to be saying it is the government that is encouraging people to be killing Christians, which is wrong. We must be able to, if we don't face our challenges, if you don't face our problem, and if you are not going to be able to identify it, call a spade, we are still going to be having this security challenges.
So how should the Nigerian government react to this if these sanctions are eventually implemented by the United States?
If there's nothing we can be able to do.
Is it going to strain Nigeria's relationship with America?
It is not going to do that when the issue of Christian genocide came. The Nigerian government doesn't take it with levity. They went and go and exonerated themselves. They made the United States to know, and the Congress to know, that they are not involved, and it was not about ethnic genocide. They admitted that they have security challenges in Nigeria, and they must know how. I mean, they are trying as much as possible to face it. They give them a lot of evidence for them to be able to see that it is not Nigerian government that is encouraging ethnic cleansing or the genocide between the Christian and Muslim. Anybody that is involved must be able to know how he's going to maneuver his way and explain himself.
Should Nigerian government take side in any of this?
Nigerian government doesn't need to take side at the end of the day. Anybody that is involved should be able to challenge themselves. They have plead and even encourage Mitiala at so many points in time for them, and that is why you see that the government of Nigeria is not resting its power on grazing in Nigeria. He has been mapping out some places that these people will be able to be tendering to their cattle at a point in time. They have earmarked the project, and they are working around the corner, around it, how it can be able to work.
Will any of these have any political impact on Rabi Musa Kwankwaso as a person?
It will, definitely it will, because he gathered his power, and the vote he has is secular. It's between. That is why he is trying to bully his way around among the political elite, that this is what he wanted, because he knew he has that power within some ethnic group, and they are following him at a point in time, because it was because he's always in support of them. If not for that, if he's tried as much as possible to make his political sagacity to be known throughout the whole Nigeria, it is not going to be like that. His stand and his political relevance is going to cross across. But now it doesn't cut across. That is for him to know that he's so secular.
Okay, now let's talk about Miyetti Allah as a body. Miyetti Allah, the cattle breeders, Magban, Breeders Association of Nigeria, is a socio-cultural organization established in 1970s to represent the interests of Fulani cattle breeders across Nigeria. Its stated objectives included protecting pastoralists' rights, promoting peaceful coexistence, and advocating for grazing access and livestock development. Now, they have had leaders in history, and we will talk about Bello Abdullah Badejo, a recent national president who has faced scrutiny from security agencies and authorities over security-related concerns. You have Muhammad Kirua, served during a period of intense farmer-Ada conflict. Gidado Siddiqui, known for public commentary during clashes in the Middle Belt. Now, these are people who one would say, one way or the other, have questionable characters, especially having been interrogated in the past when it comes to farmer-Ada crisis. Are these people related in any way when it comes to, is there a pattern that the Miyetti Allah is towing when it comes to security crisis in the country? And what is the U.S. saying that average Nigerians are not saying?
Thank you very much. You can see that these people were well known because of their reckless statement at many points in time. You can be able
Could reckless statements translate to reckless actions?
It translated to reckless actions, because people that doing that action, even if those who are making reckless statements are not involved, it has given them a lot of encouragement for them to be doing the startling act, which is not even good to humanity. You see, we must know that a lot of people who are involved in probably tribal agitation are always going to extreme. Talk about Nnamdi Kanu. That is why he found himself. because it's enjoying unnecessary popularity. And at the end of the day, despite the fact that a lot of people in developed nations where he even lives, they knew it was a security challenge to Nigeria and they are watching it. Still, he has done many damage to Nigeria. A lot of lives have been lost when you are talking about him.
Indirectly.
Directly, I'm telling you. Because he is a fugitive. That is why he's running around.
Some say Nnamdi Kanu never carried arms.
He doesn't need to carry arms. Don't you know that words are sharper than knives and are even so stronger than guns? Because it is about when you agitate and you encourage people to be, you are even liable to a lot of whatever you are going, any severe sanctions.
Now let's separate allegations, rhetorics, and proven facts from each other. Nigeria has faced serious insecurity challenges, including banditry in the northwest and insurgency linked to groups like Boko Haram. Some political actors and community leaders have accused elements within pastoralist network of complicity in rural violence, especially Miyetti Allah. However, there has never been a court conviction establishing Magban as a terrorist organization. The Nigerian government has not officially designated Magban as a terrorist group, unlike groups formerly proscribed under the Nigerian law, like IPOB. Now, the situation now is, in terms of body language, is the government complicit in the challenges Nigeria has faced when it comes to insecurity, especially with members of Magban making reckless statements that could be inflammatory and detrimental to the sovereignty of a nation?
Oh, thank you. No doubt when it comes to that. Nigerian government has, because of the political nature, dynamic political nature and of Nigeria, and
this administration also has played politics with the
it
lives
is
and
not
properties
about
of the
this
Nigerian
administration.
people.
It's about the political elite. As far as they are concerned, they are always careful when it's going to make it bad. Whether you are Odua People Congress, whether you are Miyetti Allah, whether you are whoever you are, no matter the stone thrown at them, they always try to be very careful because they know it's a sensitive something. But for the United States to have done that, let's be sincere with ourselves. If they knew they are sure of themselves, why do they have to be traveling to the United States of America in the first instance? For you to know, if the United States doesn't see the activities, it wouldn't ban them. They would have said, shit, go to any places. But now, with what happened in Venezuela, a lot of them are now, they knew that there is fire on the mountain. They knew. And when they want to strike, Nigerian government doesn't even have the firepower to challenge them. You cannot even take them to the World Court. For them to, we saw what happened. Even when you are talking about developed nations like China, when they are doing some religion cleansing, nobody can challenge them. So they knew the impact of the United States of America. They knew they can encroach any government with sovereignty anytime. So these people know that there is problem. You can see the strike that was made in Nigeria during the around December or thereabout, and there is nothing that came out of it. The Nigerian government has to submit itself because it doesn't have the power to challenge the United States of America. So this group, with the ban that been placed on them, they knew there is fire on the mountain. And whatever they do, the Nigerian government cannot be able to challenge them. So they have to be very careful. And all those who are making reckless statements, whether you are Odua People Congress, whether you are Hypo, you have to be very, very careful.
So why do Nigerians and Nigeria need validation from countries like the United States to take decisions?
That's what I'm saying. It has to do with political reasons. And you want to cut across and you want to be diplomatic because our political terrain now is so complicit. Any person that wants to govern Nigeria must be very careful because, when you are talking about we talk about white being racist, but within ourselves, we are just too tribalistic. And for now, there's nothing you can do. It has been there during the time of First Republic, Civil War. We don't trust each other. So anybody that wanted to capture or be enthroned as a president must be very careful in his utterances. You see what's happening in the Southeast. Despite the fact that the elite knew that what Kanu is doing is wrong. Nobody has ever been able to challenge it. Nobody.
Was it too powerful?
Among themselves, because they knew once you challenge him, there are some IPOB members who are so crazy, they are going to kill you, whether you like it or not.
So who empowered him? Who enthroned him as
the
leader of Biafra?
It is the people, the ignorance. That is for you to know that there is a lot of... When people talk about Sunday Igbo, you can just imagine them talking about Sunday Igbo that is going to be able to emancipate somebody like me. What does he do for a living? And you can see the way he was being worshipped among Yorubas. They take him as God.
Are you saying Nigerians ignorantly empower people?
I'm telling you, ignorantly. Deliberately. They empower those who are more criminal to be able to believe in them. You can imagine. So, you can imagine what...
How do you separate criminality from morality?
Morality, when you are talking about tribalism, people embrace it and they love it. That is the ignorant part of it. Even those who are elite embrace them.
Some people will say these people you have mentioned are fighting a just cause.
Just cause for what? Who are they fighting for? You can imagine. Do you think is it legal or logical for individual to be given enormous power, to be wielding? He is going to be the one that is going to be in charge of arrest, and is going to be a just judge himself. It's reckless. That is why we have judiciary system. You must be able to prove yourself, and there must be evidence. Haven't you seen when you are talking about mob attack? People that are no longer being killed because of mob attack. That is why we have to go through judiciary system in order to be able to convict anybody that you think is a criminal.
All right, let's now go back to Rabi Musa Kwankwaso as an individual. At least he's at the center of it all as we speak now, and he's about to be banned by the United States of America from entering America. Could this be a realignment ahead of 2027? He's been scheming. He wants to be vice presidential candidate or presidential candidate of any political party that wants him to join. Now that he's about to be proscribed by the United States of America, is this a realignment waiting to happen ahead of 2027?
I think he's going to be accepted more by his people. When he has not been proscribed by the United States of America, he can be able to capture Kano State. And his influence is not outside Kano. Let me say that with himself. So now, even if he's been banned, like the way United States of America, he must be able to join many northern part vote. It's a plus to him. It cannot be a minus. And the government of today is not even being, he doesn't even think he's somebody, apart from being the friend of the president, that is the influence he has. Before the president even accepted his governor, he has to go and plead with his godfather. He has sent him to his godfather so many times. Just because he doesn't want to poach him unnecessary. He doesn't want to be seen as if he has, trying to whistle down his power. So it has nothing to do with President Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu. Whatever the cross they carry, he must be able to face it. Don't read any political statement to anything. Whatever they want to read, they must face the problem they have. And when the president of Nigeria has this problem about Christian genocide, a lot of people in opposite side are so joyous. They think President Asiwaju Ahmed Tinubu is going to be giving Venezuela's treatment. And the man came and rise up to it. And it's even beneficiary to him right now. Because the United States of America has helped in Nigeria when it comes to supply arms and ammunition. They have given a lot of security training to our security agents. And they have helped them. You can see the way Trump has elongated Remi Tinubu, the president's wife, when he went to the United States of America.
So how important is that to Nigerian people?
It is not about importance to Nigerian people.
How does it improve security in Nigeria?
with the things the way they are treating our security, training our security, he has given us
Isn't
a
that
bonus.
praised by Donald Trump a makeover just to cover things happening in the country?
At least for him to have done that, we are not on a threat zone anymore. It helps us. Because you can imagine if Trump came to Nigeria and started to be bombing Aso Rock or Abuja, do you think me and you can be able to be in this studio?
Have you forgotten the reason Donald Trump made the earlier statement was because Nigeria was on the brink?
Nigeria has never been on the brink. Nigeria has been surviving. Nigeria has been. That is why you see our economy being improved right now.
Is it about survival or living? And Nigerians actually living.
Survival or living is part of it. A lot of countries in the world, they are complaining all the time. People are complaining. If you see what happened in United Kingdom yesterday, all of them talk about immigrant as the immigrant is taking over because they knew the way they are living before wasn't the way they are living right now. None of them. You can never see. You see what is happening in the United States of America. A lot of them are complaining as well. The citizens are complaining.
The immigrants they are complaining about. I don't know, Nigerians, Somalians.
Whether Nigeria, whether Somalia, according to the United States chapter, everybody has the right to live wherever he wanted to live, anywhere in the world.
That's not the
We are giving that.
The idea is if Nigeria is good enough, most Nigerians would not want to leave.
Nigeria doesn't need to be good enough before we can migrate from one place to the other.
So we are okay the way
No. People seek for better living. Even within Nigeria. You have seen people that came from probably Anambra State to Lagos State, or you have seen people that even leave Lagos State to go to Kaduna or Abuja. It depends on the way where you want to go. Human want is insatiable. Whether you are even living comfortable in Lagos, we are seeing people who are living in Lagos think Lagos is so congested and is not good to raise family, and they have immigrated to Ibadan. Are you going to stop them? That because they are from Lagos, they shouldn't come to Ibadan. That is for you to know that people have the right to live anywhere in the world. It's been written in United Nations chapter. So if you have meet the requirement of the immigration, why not? A lot of them that invited us as well. We have heard that in UK, when they are short of job, in 60s, 50s, they have seek the help of places like Jamaica or Haiti or any other place. And they migrated they gave them free passage. And they help us to develop their economy. Later they are complaining. Now, a lot of visa that's been issued was because when UK went out of European Union, they are short-staffed. And we are letting. Later, they see that it has been congested. So, when you are talking about immigrants, it is messing after them. They gave us the opportunity and we use it. And there's nothing they can be able to do.
All right, moving on from the issue of immigration, let's talk about what it could mean, what this visa scrutiny could mean for Nigerian political elites. Do you think this could further polarize the political ecosystem in the north? And most importantly, how should political actors, especially the gladiators in Nigeria, react to security scrutiny of this magnitude?
Anybody, like I said before, if you have questions to answer, go and answer it. People have, not everything should be placing on the doorstep of President Ahmed Bola Tinubu. They have, a lot of people have sabotaged his government. And he has used this to his own advantage. He doesn't go to went to the elite to help them, to tell them to help him. He was the one that assembled his own brains and know how to help himself. But anybody that's been touched, sometimes we don't see what the funny body say. Even when we see it, we just close our eyes. Like I said to you, because Nigeria, for now, in the political terrain, we are tribalistic in nature. And if a place like United States can be able to do that, thank God, they challenged President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, and he rise up to the occasion. Political elite that does wrong should be able to face the consequence. Nothing has to do with Nigeria when it comes to this issue. They must be able to do what is necessary.
So will this affect investor confidence? And what does this say about investors coming into Nigeria as a country?
People don't care when it comes to money. It doesn't destabilize it.
Even when
anything
the country is ravaged with
or Kwakwazo doesn't change anything when it comes to economic impact. Everybody wants to survive. A lot of military cannot stay within their jurisdiction. They are everywhere in Nigeria, and I'm telling you, apart from some bad element among them, they are living peacefully wherever they are. That is why they like to live in seclusion. So now the bad element in them must be able to be coped by this so-called elite among them, and they must comply with the rule and regulation in Nigeria.
So might this impact security cooperation and trade between Nigeria and the U.S.?
That is why it doesn't. When United States of America banned,
or you are trying to play this down that it has
it
no
is
effect
not about
whatsoever.
that. It is not about that. When you are talking about trade, why do you think Remi Tinubu went to America? Why do you think President Asiwaju Ahmed Bola Tinubu is planning to go and do the visitation after so many years he has been in government? Why do you think so? He has even went to the the stock exchange in United States of America and invited them to come to Nigeria and to do business. Now, the individuals that are involved are those who are being sanctioned. So it has nothing to do with the Nigerian government. Let anybody that did wrong face the consequence of what he had done.
So what forms of reforms should Nigeria be focusing on right now to prevent external sanctions?
You see, according to the freedom of speech and freedom of association, there are some things that cannot challenge in court, like what a lot of elite has been doing. When you are talking about sabotaging our security system, and they have used it, and you must try as much as possible to know. You have seen the complicity of some governors who are paying these bandits, who are giving them money. The more you give them money, the more you give them power.
The stronger they become.
They become stronger. And because the Constitution of Nigeria has spelled it out, it's not ambiguous. There's no ambiguity in it. Because the function of the governor, the function of the local government, the function of the president are there. A president cannot encroach when you are talking about any governor of a state, how he's going to be able to govern. He can only be advised. Despite the fact that they have been advised, they still went ahead and be doing it. But now, thank God that our financial system is now solid, and a lot of money coming in and out is being watched. If not for that, we will not even know how much Bauchi governor is paying the bandit. So with this, unlike before, they have been giving cash. Let them be giving them cash. Now it's about transfer. So there is a lot of things. Look at, I heard with $50 you can be killed in the United States of America. $100 bill if you have it with you. That is why a lot of their financial activities is based on internet transaction. Let us involve in this internet transaction. It's getting better every time. We can be able to be monitoring our monetary system, how it goes in and out. In US, because of the drug, they are able, when you deposit more than expected, that is what you are going to be calling what they call it. They gave it a name. And you will be watched, you are going to be, you are going to be criminalized or even taken to court.
Okay, just before we go, let me ask you this last question. So in your view, is this a diplomatic warning, a political strategy, or something more serious for Nigeria's democracy?
Diplomatic warning to those who are involved in whatever they are doing that is wrong. Because today, now, because of the ban on some of the elite in the north, they become a messiah. They become like their messiah. They will be worshiping them. But in the south, they are not. They are going to be looking at in different ways. So it has nothing to do with politics. It has to do with those who are involved in criminality, and our security challenge must be able to take note and change the ways of their life.
All right, thank you, Honorable Mola Jalaye, for joining us on the show this morning.
Thank you for having me.
All right. He has been able to give us his insight on this important issue. As developments unfold, Nigerians will be watching closely, not just the political reactions, but the broader implications for our economy, governance, and foreign relations. And that's it for the big story on Daybreak Live. Stay with us for more analysis, updates, and engaging conversations as we continue to track issues shaping our nation and the world. Samsi Balogu is my name, and the program continues as we bring you Trend Watch.
Live from the heart of the action. Welcome to the nerve center of Next Level Broadcasting.
This is the OB van, where the studio meets the street.
Equipped with cutting-edge cameras, crystal clear audio, real-time switching, and broadcast control, we don't just capture moments, we deliver the experience live.
Anywhere, anytime, from stadiums to red carpets, breaking news to buzzing festivals, weddings, birthdays, and all sorts of ceremonies. We bring the world to your screen in real time.
It's not just a van, it's a complete mobile production house, a command center, a broadcast beast.
This is more than a broadcast. This is the OB van difference. Live, loud, limitless.
Ready to go live? Like never before. Book the OB van today and take your event to the world. One powerful broadcast at a time.
To book, call 0705 506 1061 or 0916 101 1061. Email marketing@dominion.org.ng or visit our socials on Instagram @Dominion Broadcast.
Dominion Broadcast, your channel of choice.
Need a professional space to bring your vision to life? Dominion Television Studios offers state-of-the-art facilities perfect for your next broadcast, commercial, corporate video, or live event. With flexible rental options, cutting-edge equipment, and a supportive team, we provide the perfect environment for high-quality productions. Unleash your creativity. For bookings, email us at marketing@dominion.org.ng. Call us on 0705 506 1061 or 0916 101 1061. Check us out on Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn, and TikTok @Dominion Broadcast and on X @DominionCast. Book your space today. Dominion Television, your channel of choice.
That's your break. The show is still Daybreak Live right here on Dominion Television, your channel of choice, where inspiration meets entertainment. It is time for Trend Watch on this dial, and of course, Oluwayemi Adelakun and Oluwakwa Edowu. They're both back here in the studio with me this morning.
Yes, so good to be back here today.
Nice to have you all back.
And of course, now let's switch over to Trend Watch, right? And the issue of discourse is corpses of the 2 Nigerians fighting for Russia recovered in Ukraine as more Africans deployed in suicide units. But just a brief into that is that the intelligence report further revealed that the Nigerians died during a combat operation in late November 2025 after being deployed to the battlefield shortly after signing contract with Russian forces. And the bodies of 2 Nigerian nationals who traveled to fight for Russia in the ongoing war against Ukraine have been recovered in the battlefield. But anyway, that's more like the issue. But much more important is that there was a particular investigative angle that was taken by a guy called Larry Mado of CNN. And you know, he did not just stop by speaking to the families of those people. He went to places where he gathered major and basic information. And you could see information. And you could see that his premise was that many African nations are being, maybe manipulated. I mean, some of their members are being manipulated or being told a lie to join the combat forces of the Russian forces, to say, yes, there's this, there's that, we have opportunities for you. If you get there, this will be the case. But unfortunately, when they got there, they were put at the front line, at the battle line, where it is very hot.
Untrained.
You know, very untrained. And I mean, I think it took, maybe, according to him, maybe a month or so to train them, which is not enough. It's not satisfactory for an armed person to go to, especially in front of war. A war that is not playing, nobody's joking there. It's real. If you get a bullet, you die. If you get hit, you die. But you know, the conversation has been in the African quarters that some persons, even while listening to this, are saying, how can I get in? Something they want to join the Russian forces.
You see, it's quite unfortunate that Nigeria and other African countries have become more or less like the dump site for some countries, and we have become, suddenly become the country that exports military personnel, untrained military personnel to Russia, for example. But I wouldn't blame Russia as a country, because at this time they need as many numbers as they can get. But I would blame the Nigerian government that has failed to place a restriction and a regulatory control on how things are being done in this country. You will be shocked that it is some of these travel agencies that are recruiting for the Russian government, and they are taking them to Russia. They are trained maybe 3 weeks, at most 4 weeks, and then they are put at the front line. Russian citizens are at the back, and Nigerians and other African countries, citizens of other African countries, are being placed at the forefront. What are they looking for? That is the premise of what this conversation is about. They think when they get there and the war is over, they get to stay in Europe and enjoy
citizenship.
I mean, have you thought about you losing your life before the war is over? I mean, this is not ending anytime soon. Even the US and the UK that have been mediating all of this, they have suddenly gone silent on what is going on between Ukraine and the US. We consider
and Russia.
And Russia, rather. And in the first place, when it all happened, you know, you see everyone commenting. Even China was commenting, "Oh, this has to stop." When was the last time any one of them said anything about what is going on? And the war is active between Russia and Ukraine. And what do they do? They get Nigerians, Ghanaians, they get Somalis who think that their lives are not valuable enough for them to stay in their own country, to come and fight for another country, and then on the promise of you get also amount of money, and when the war is over, you get to stay in Europe, and then you start a family. And it's so sad that after the investigative journalism was conducted on one of these victims, we got to discover that he had families in Nigeria. He had members, he had 3 children and a wife that are doing fine in Nigeria, and he left to fight for Russia in the hope that he wants to make their lives better and then come back to pick them later. This is just a wake-up call to everyone who still has that mindset. Look, it's not, Europe is not, beds of roses. You don't go there and pluck money on the tree. I mean, it's not like Apple. You go there, you work. And aside from working, yes, it's still fine when you are going there to work as an industrious human being. You know that if you work, you will hit. But then going to the forefront, you no military background whatsoever, you don't know how to handle weapons, you have no tactical awareness or tactical training about how to handle weapons.
Even the language.
The language, you don't understand. And someone takes you from your country, a fellow Nigerian, a fellow Ghanaian, a fellow Somali, convinced you to come and fight for Russia, and the next thing you did was to pack your bags. I don't think you know what you are doing. No matter how desperate you want to be, it is not that bad in African countries for you to go and lay your lives. You can't even do that for Nigeria. And that you have done for Russia. I mean, that is totally unacceptable. Whoever still has that kind of mindset should be checked.
Right. It's really sad that this happened, and sincere condolences to the families. And then, it speaks to the weaponized poverty in this country, not just Nigeria, African countries, because it has gotten to that point whereby people will do anything for money. They don't care whether they can die at the end of the day, but they'll do anything to cater for their family and the pressure. But it's really sad. And then he mentioned that even some persons, after what happened, they are still willing to go there. So it brings back memories of what happened, what we read, what happened back then. When World War I was fought, the First World War, the Second World War was fought. Africans were also recruited to go and fight the wars, and many Africans died. They died. Taking it back even to the slave trade period, many able-bodied men were also transported. Are we going to learn at all? But then, it's a lot to handle, because some persons are looking for how to better their lives, and then they are willing to take these opportunities to go. And then I also read that even the families were not informed officially by the Russian authorities. Instead, news of their death were reported, through a secret WhatsApp group by African mercenaries. Imagine when you get to hear about, what happened to your children, through that route and not from the authorities, because it's really sad. I don't know how we can manage all of this now, but then I just want to say sincere condolences to the families, and then we'll look for ways to actually, put a stop to all of this.
Okay, let's take one or two comments, and shortly we'll call it a wrap on this show this morning. All right, there's a comment here that says Nigeria can take risks. I mean, that's actually what we've been saying. Yeah. Nigerians really know how to take risks. And the hope says, may God rest their souls in search of the golden peace, but found death shall not be our portion in Jesus. I mean, you can pray all you do, but the fact is you still have to take the right steps. Prayers don't help you when you take the wrong steps. All right, it is a convenient point to leave the show this morning. So thank you for joining us all through the week. Do well to join us again next week, same time, same station, from Monday all through to Friday, when we have Daybreak Live Extra right here on Dominion Television. Of course, you are still going to be the same host. When you see something, say something. And when you pray, take the right steps too. Samson Balogun is my name. See us next week. Bye for now.
All right, my name is Oluyemi Adelakun. Before I go, please double-check opportunities before you take them. Bye for now.
Well, I would say, why not love Nigeria with all your heart and in words and both deeds? Why not just do what is right by the country, even if the country is not doing well? Let's be the ones to build the walls of the country, Nigeria. My name is Anulo Akpoido. Thank you very much for joining us. Bye for now.